Hello, my name is Karen Bingert, and I'm the new Executive Director of the New Jersey Principals and Supervisors Association and a recently retired high school principal. As National Principals Month comes to a close, I wanted to take a few moments to speak to you with some of my thoughts about being a principal and a few critical reminders so that you never forget the importance of what you do each and every day, even when the outside noise gets into your head and even when you may not give yourself credit for the difference you are making in your school and community. Let's be clear, being a principal, not an easy job. And it can sometimes be a lonely job. Even in a district with multiple schools, you are the only principal in your own school. By nature, this means that even if you have a counterpart in another building, their experiences are not your own. Although you can collaborate and commiserate, and you do, and although you have support from those incredible people on your own team in your own school, there is always just one principal at the end of the day. With that comes the burden and the honor of being the principal who supports your staff, building them up so that they believe, even at their most tired or vulnerable, that they can do this incredibly important job. You are also the pep squad for the students, bringing your warmth and your excitement to see them to school every day, even on the days when you really just want to pull the covers over your head and go back to sleep. You are the go-to person for parents, and you willingly stand before them when they are upset or angry, building relationships instead of barriers. We all know that principals often get more darts than they do roses, but those roses, an email, a note, a call of thanks, or a simple look of gratitude when you've helped someone through the most difficult moments of their children's lives, and helped them understand that in most cases, this will not be the end of the world. Those roses make a world of difference to a principal who is always the first one to stand up when others stand down, and who knows that you always do the right thing, because leadership isn't easy and leadership matters. This year is even harder than last year, and frustrations and misgivings often plague us because, face it, educators, by their very nature, are even harder on themselves than others are on them. No one works this hard without having an incredible ability to recognize that the intrinsic motivation to do right by kids and by your staff is what it's all about. As you fall asleep at night, the questions race through your mind. What does my school need? Where are we going next? How can I help? Those questions, and so many more, cut even deeper this year as your time and energy are spread thin on contact tracing, rebuilding your school climate, establishing the routines that students have forgotten in the last year and a half, and working through so many changes in a staggeringly short amount of time. Often short-staffed, which leaves everyone, including the principal, doing even more. Knowing all this, let me give you some roses, each one of them intended to remind you that you are really good at what you're doing and that your exhaustion or your self-doubt is not about your failings, but about your unlimited capacity to always want to do more and more and more, because you love your students, you treasure your staff, and you know that your school is a part of people's lives and memories, not just while they're inside your classrooms, but in all of those snapshot moments that they will hold dear for the rest of their lives. So here is my bouquet of roses for you. Handpicked reminders of what you do that matters every day. You are doing more than you're giving yourself credit for. You smiled at someone today who needed it. You may not even remember it if that person reminds you of it a day or a week from now, but you did it. In that moment, with everything else going on behind your eyes and in the lightning-fast synapses of your brain, you made a connection with a staff member or a student who needed to be seen, and it made a difference in that person's day. You put others first. I call some days as a principal treadmill days. These are the days when you feel like you are running and running, but getting nowhere. Your to-do list keeps growing, and you cannot get to the list to cross anything off, only to add to it. You walk out the door of your office to go do an observation, and you're stopped 7 times on the way to the classroom. You show up with your brain on those 7 topics, and it takes a minute to focus on what's actually happening in the classroom. If one of those 7 stops didn't actually derail your plans to do that evaluation. You may not get it done today, and you may be feeling like you're just not getting the most important parts of your job done. You aren't doing what you feel you need to do, what is expected of you, what is assigned to you, what is written in your job description, and what is typically an integral part of your role as an educational leader. But let me remind you of this. Those 7 people who stopped you in the halls or on the stairway had their needs met, and you made their day better because of the 30 seconds that they spent with you. And that is your job. You are an educational leader, creating the learning and collaborative environment that will help your teachers and your students reach their highest levels of potential. You're building into your culture a belief system that all students can succeed, no matter where they started this year and no matter the hurdles ahead of them. You know that success is in their grasp, and you let them know every day because you never give up on a kid, ever. You are a problem solver. Just months ago, you didn't know how you were going to run lunches in a pandemic, but you do now. Your planning and consideration goes to deep, deep levels, not just about the problem on the surface, such as feeding students and keeping them COVID-free, but you look beyond that to ensure that your plan also gives them the chance to be kids and to enjoy downtime with their friends. You plan for all the foreseeable contingencies because, in the end, you want the least disruption and the most joy for your students. You are a safe haven. You allow those around you to be vulnerable, to express their worries, and to vent their anger with you because they know that you understand that sometimes a person just needs to let it out. You recognize the difference between someone opening the pressure valve, which can be closed again once the steam is released and the person is back in the safe zone, and a problem that you actually need to take from their shoulders to your own. You don't always have to have solutions because now, more than ever, there may be none, but you always listen. You are really good at what you do. Being a principal has never been an easy job, but the hallmark of being a good principal is being flexible and planning way ahead to mitigate all the foreseeable issues. That old phrase, hope for the best but plan for the worst, is ingrained in you because you know that the only way to truly focus on the ideals of education is to make sure that all of the realities of education are all squared away first. You handle so much more than anyone knows. Defining the role of a principal is almost impossible because, let's be honest, it includes everything. What the people outside your office or outside your school know about is perhaps 5% of what you actually do every day because you do it all with heart, but all without fanfare. Today alone, you've been an educational leader, but perhaps also a custodian, a counselor, a crossing guard, a teacher, a substitute, or a bus aide. You have been firm, warm, funny, playful, insightful, inspirational, reassuring, confident, capable, and passionate. You have been dedicated, motivating, energetic, and enthusiastic. You have taken others' burdens onto your own shoulders and lightened their loads. As National Principals Month comes to an end, this bonus Zen in 10 comes without goal setting. There are no challenges to dig deeper and no words of encouragement to be creative and innovative. Also, no instructions for how to best care for yourself. This one is meant to tell you that you are a principal and that you are doing incredible work for your students, staff, school, and community. You are spectacular, respected, beloved, valued, and you make it look easy, although it is anything but. There are no darts for you here today. Just a huge bouquet of roses to celebrate the difference you make in this world. And don't you ever forget it either. And if you do, call me. I will be happy to remind you. Thank you, principals. Your leadership matters, and you matter.